Welcome to Personal Finance. Today happens to be October 13th. This is the Monday, Wednesday, Friday edition. Today we're going to talk about insurance. Okay, question number one. Why do we have insurance, Stetson?
So like on those cars, if you get in a wreck, obviously it's paid for. And
Very good. No, it's to protect us against damages, right? That's what insurance is for. It protects against loss. Now, at the risk of I probably shouldn't press anything at the risk of messing something up, so I don't think I will. Do you think I have insurance on this pen, Brennan?
no.
No. And I don't think that would be very wise to carry insurance on this pen. Why would that not be very wise, Connor McGee?
Sorry.
Let's go to Cindy and Punka.
Because it's easily replaceable.
Right, it's so inexpensive. It's a nice pen and all, but still, it's used. Remember, you have to go on what the value is, and not necessarily replacement value. Those are two different items. When it comes to insurance, if you're not very specific in your type of coverage, the insurance, what do you think? Will the insurance cover replacement cost of the pen for a brand new pen, or will it just cover the value of the pen? What do you think, Haley? Hey, and Alva, you get 2 points, Haley, because actually you're right sometimes. If you specifically have a policy, and an insurance policy is nothing more a contract between you and the insurance company. That's what it is. It's a contract. It says, if I pay this much in premium, that's what it's called, the insurance premium, but if I pay this much in premium, either monthly or quarterly, semi-annually or annually, but if I pay this much, then if this happens, then the insurance company will pay this much. Okay? That's the way insurance works. Now, specifically put in the contract that you want replacement cost coverage, then it will cover replacement cost. Then it will cover the cost to replace, not the value of it. If you don't specifically put that in the contract, though, it's only going to cover what it's worth. Now, here's how it works in the real world. All right. In the real world, my insurance on my house, I have replacement cost coverage. So if a tornado comes through and levels our place to the ground, except hopefully our new little safe room that my wonderful wife and I will be in with our Jack Russell. If it wipes everything out, even my 1990 refrigerator, which is amazing, it still works. The ice maker works and everything. That 1990 refrigerator that's 24 years old, the insurance company will buy me a brand new refrigerator. That's because I have replacement cost coverage. Minus, of course, a deductible. We'll talk about that, what a deductible is in just a little bit. But anyway, I have replacement cost coverage. So my stereo speakers that I have on the walls that I bought at a PX in Louisiana in 1970, 44 years ago, those get totally wiped out in the tornado. I get brand new speakers. Okay? I have replacement cost coverage. Doesn't matter that they're 44 years old. Oh, by the way, which do you think is more expensive type of insurance to have? Replacement cost coverage or just actual cash value? Which one do you think is more expensive, David?
Novel?
Hello, hey, welcome to Personal Finance. Now, what's your answer?
The second one.
The second one. You know,
Place
it's
call.
kind of like trying to get my wife to pay attention during a football game. I just can't get her to do it. So it's all right. Don't worry about it. You get 2 points for your good participation right there. Okay, the question is, in fact, when I explain, I tell my wife this when a really neat football play comes on TV, I go, hey, even if you hate football, you got to watch this play. You just gotta appreciate this play, even if you hate football. Come on, just watch this one play. So I'll get her to watch that one play. She goes, oh, okay. You know, and that was an awesome pass. So anyway, so here's the question again. You got replacement cost coverage, which if my 44-year-old speakers on my wall get totally damaged in a tornado, the insurance company buys me brand new speakers. My refrigerator that's 24 years old, they replace it with a brand new refrigerator, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Now the question is, the actual cash value probably of my refrigerator is probably worth, what, $200? A 24-year-old refrigerator. I mean, would you pay $200 for a 24-year-old refrigerator, Niles?
No, I wouldn't.
No, I wouldn't either. It's probably not even worth $200. It might even be worth $100, maybe even $75. I mean, the ice maker works. All right, so maybe $100. So side by side, you know, $100 maybe. But I wouldn't even pay. I agree with you, Niles. I wouldn't even pay $200. So here it is. It's worth $100. But my insurance company is going to pay for a brand new side-by-side refrigerator with an ice maker. Which those, I don't know if you've been shopping recently, but more or less those are about $1,000. So the question is, which type of insurance is more expensive? The replacement cost coverage or just the actual depreciated cash value? Which one is more expensive, David?
Replacement cost.
Yeah, replacement cost. Because the insurance companies have to spend $1,000 instead of $100. So that's the replacement cost coverage is going to be more expensive. Now, I like replacement cost coverage. And I had one student one semester go, wow, Dr. G, I was kind of surprised. You're so cheap, because everybody knows how cheap I am. I mean, I am so incredibly cheap. I mean, this morning, here's your personal finance tip of the day. My toothpaste, when it runs out, I take a scissors and cut the tube in half, and I can get a week's worth of toothpaste out of each end. I'm not kidding you. That's how cheap I am. I mean, I'm serious. I mean, yesterday when we had our kids over and our grandkids over after church, I took the tartar sauce. I cooked grilled salmon, right? I scored some nice points with my wife. You know, cooked and did the whole thing. And I took the tartar sauce bottle, which was it's plastic, cut it in half so I could get all of it out from both ends. That's how cheap I am. Well, anyway, replacement cost coverage is more expensive. So I've had a number of students surprised, wow, you have replacement cost coverage. That's more expensive. Dr. G, doesn't that violate every bone in your body? Well, here's why I like replacement cost coverage on a house. When and every once in a while we get a really bad hailstorm. I mean, in 1990, in Enid, softball-sized hail at 2 o'clock in the morning. This was unbelievable. It's like the wrath of God. There were some people in my neighborhood who actually had hailstones go through the shingles, through the decking, through the ceiling, landed right in their bedroom. That's how bad it was. So at 2 o'clock in the morning, I went and got a football helmet. It sounds funny, but you needed, it was a motorcycle helmet. Football helmet would work too. I went and got a motorcycle helmet, put the motorcycle helmet on, and started moving some cars in the garage. And if you get hit in the head with a softball-sized hailstone, by the way, they're coming down at 120 miles an hour. So if you get hit in the head with a softball-sized hailstone, you will die. You get hit in the head with it. So I got my motorcycle helmet on and started putting cars in the garage, and 2 o'clock in the morning. Well, we've never had a hailstorm that bad since. Hopefully we never will again. But we've had some hailstorms in Enid. Now a hailstorm does a really good job usually of wiping out a roof. The roofers just love it. They get so busy after a hailstorm. I mean, oh my goodness, if you want to go make money, it's not easy work. In fact, just one summer, just for the fun of it, this is after a hailstorm, I decided it would be a good project for my son and I to replace our roof. And it was just an overlay, so I didn't have to strip off. We only had one layer down. And it was a good experience. So we did that. That was the first roof that I ever did, and the last one. I'm never getting up on a roof again and roofing. But here's the neat part about having replacement cost coverage. After that really nasty hailstorm, in fact, that was the nasty hailstorm when my son and I think then we redid our roof. But the nice part about replacement cost coverage is my roof was very, very old. It wasn't worth much. Depreciation is what an insurance company does. They calculate, well, let's see, it's not as worth much now as it was brand new. And so what they'll do is they'll just say, well, a roof has a useful life of, let's say, 20 years, just to make the numbers easy. Depending on the company, depending on the roofing material used and so forth, they might move it up to 25 years, maybe even 30 years. Well, let's just say 20 years to make the numbers easy. All right. So, and also let's make the numbers real easy. Let's say to replace a roof is $10,000. Which isn't too far off, depending on the size of your house and the materials and everything else. So, now if you're not an auditory learner, you better write those two numbers down. Write down 20 years and write down $10,000 for a new roof. All right, so here's the question. And we're going to assume straight line depreciation. Straight line depreciation means every year it goes down in value the same. Now, we already know automobiles don't have straight line depreciation, right? Because when does an automobile depreciate the most, Levi?
Right after you buy it.
Right after you buy it. Boom, it just goes way down in value. I mean, you drive it off, as soon as you drive it off the lot, it drops maybe 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 in value. So an automobile does not have straight line depreciation. But on a roof, they will usually calculate straight line depreciation, meaning the same every year. That's what straight line depreciation means. So, here's the question. You may have to write this down. I used to be good at math, so maybe I can do this in my head. I give you easy numbers because I can't handle very hard numbers, see? That's why. All right. So a roof lasts 20 years, and it costs $10,000. So how much a year is that insurance company going to reduce the value of your roof? Now, this is really important if you don't have replacement coverage. If you have replacement coverage, ta-da! 20-year-old roof, 10 grand. That's what I get, minus my deductible. The deductible just says, the insurance company says, you have to pay this much first. We'll talk more about deductibles in a little bit. So if I had a $1,000 deductible, then that would make the numbers real easy. So my roof needs to be replaced. It doesn't even matter that it's 20 years old. I get 10 grand minus my $1,000 deductible, so they write me a check for $9,000. Okay? Now, they will come out and check to make sure you fix your roof. They're not going to just let you have $9 grand. It's not the way it works. In fact, they might pay half first, make sure it gets finished, or at least 80% finished, or whatever, and then they'll write you a check for the other half. Okay, that's the way it works. Well, anyway, I have replacement cost coverage, so that's the way it works for me. But for the people that don't have replacement cost coverage, every year, okay, 20 years, $10,000. Are you ready? How much per year does that roof go down in value, Grayson? How much?
$500.
$500. You get 2 points for your good participation. All right. I think you're right. See, I told you I used to be good at math. Good job, Grayson. Man, I messed. Good thing I didn't call it myself. I got that one wrong. I would have said something like $2,000. Man, this is why I could never teach to a camera without you all present. Be a total disaster. Some of you are saying it's a total disaster anyway, Dr. G. Anyway, well, I appreciate you, Grayson. You got that right. So it goes down in value, $500 a year. So after 10 years, that $10,000 roof is only worth how much, Aubrey?
After 10 years?
Right.
$9,000?
You get 2 points for your good participation. The roof was worth $10,000 when it's brand new. That's a 20-year life. 10 years later, how much is the roof worth? Avishek. Avishek is absent.
$5,000.
Oh, where's Avishek? Wait a minute. Where are you, Avishek? Avishek's absent. Today is the 13th. Shelby, what do you think?
5,000.
5,000 is correct. 5,000. So the roof is only worth 5,000. So if somebody that did not, if that hailstorm happened 10 years after they put on a brand new roof, the insurance company would only pay out 5,000 minus their $1,000 deductible. That's very common to have a $1,000 deductible. So the insurance company would pay 4,000. Then the homeowner would have to take $6,000 out of their own pocket to put a new roof on. See how that works? Now you know why I like replacement cost coverage. All right. But that's very rare. Replacement cost coverage. By the way, if you have a really old house with a really crummy roof, and you go to your insurance company and go, I learned in personal finance, I want replacement cost coverage of my house. Do you think they're going to give it to you, Jacob?
Yeah.
You get 2 points for your good participation. It's a really old house, and they come out and look at your roof, and you say, I want replacement cost coverage on my house. What are they going to tell you, Stan? They're going to tell you no. That's right. They're probably going to say HE double hockey sticks no, right? They're going to say, hey, this roof, I mean, it's already 25 years old. We're not putting replacement coverage on a 25-year-old roof. See, they'll put, if you got a brand new roof, then you go get replacement cost coverage. They'll do it for you, right? See, it makes sense. Because it's all about what? TJ.
Value.
Value, good answer. You are plugged in today, TJ. That is awesome. I thought people were going to get the standard answer of risk, because value is correct, TJ. In fact, in that answer, TJ, value is better than risk. But it is all about risk because the value has gone way, way down, hasn't it? And so the risk, it's too much risk for the insurance company. See, just think of it this way. Would you insure a 25-year-old roof for replacement cost value? Would you do that, Tiffany?
No.
No, I wouldn't either. That would not be wise to do, would it? That would not be wise to do. So, we don't have replacement cost coverage on an old house, old roof. No, they're not going to give replacement cost coverage on that. And replacement cost coverage is more expensive. Now, one of the things that, and I actually thought about this. All right, 64 years old. I'm old as dirt. It's probably the last roof I'm going to put on my house. You know. I mean, the saying in our family is, I hope I get to see Isaac first. You know, that's our grandson, 3 years old. He got killed on July 9th. In fact, I even carry a little picture around. I photoshopped. You probably can't see that where the roof. I photoshopped my grandson Isaac sitting up there looking at Jesus. So the in our family is I hope I get to see Isaac first. All right. Well, anyway, so by the time I'm 84, that roof will be 20 years old, right? And hey, so I've actually thought about changing my insurance to actual cost, in other words, actual depreciating cost, as opposed to the replacement cost. So I need to meet with my insurance guys, see how much money I'm going to save, and then I need to balance those two, because insurance on our house is starting to get pretty expensive. It's like $1,500 a year. And that's with a $2,500 deductible, not a $1,000 deductible. In other words, here's how the deductible works. When, bam, $10,000 worth of damage on my house, okay, now I have replacement cost coverage, so that's good, you know, $10,000. $10,000 worth of replacement, I have $10,000 coverage, so my house needs a new roof. This just happened just a couple years ago. So, $10,000. You might want to write this down, especially if you're not auditory. Okay, so I had $10,000 of damage. All right. Then I had a $2,500 deductible. So my insurance company wrote me a check for how much, Ethan?
$7,500.
$7,500. That is correct. They wrote me a check for $7,500. That's what deductible means. They say, you don't get the whole 10 grand. You get $7,500. So that's what the insurance company writes me a check for, $7,500. Okay, that's the way it works. If you have a $1,000 deductible, well, then they'd write me a check for how much, Susanna?
$9,000.
Very good, $9,000. So they'd write me a check for $9,000. If I had $500 deductible, then they'd write me a check for how much? Reagan, radar.
What was your deductible?
Take a guess.
$9,500.
$9,500 is correct. In other words, if I had a $500 deductible, $9,500. That's what they would write me a check for. Now here's the question for you. Assuming everything else is equal, the insurance premium, that's the cost that the insurance company, and you can pay that, we pay that annually on our house. So in August, you got to write a check for $1,500. Yeah, you better save up for that, right? Don't do like one of the widows that we're helping out with. This one widow, she's buying CDs. I don't even buy CDs. I go to YouTube. I want to listen to something, I go on YouTube, you know, hey. But anyway, so she's buying CDs. She's the one that got her gas cut off, took cold showers for 2.5 months, all right? She's buying, I didn't even know you could do this, but I found out that when you play those games at Facebook, you can buy extra stuff. She's been buying the extra stuff at Facebook, playing the games on Facebook. This widow has and then she gets her gas shut off. Well, anyway, yeah, you don't want to do that. I'm so cheap, I wouldn't want to buy anything on Facebook, like buy more hay for my farm animals on Farmville or whatever it is. I just shake my head over that one. So sometimes my wife and I, we have to play good cop, bad cop when we help out a widow. So I'm bad cop. I make a really good bad cop. Then I sometimes I am just so mean. I'm embarrassed. But I'm trying to, then my wife puts her arm around him and, you can do this. Well, true. Tell them what for, right? What are you doing? Spending money on Farmville when you get your natural gas shut off. Oh, I was lonely. I like to play Farmville. Oh, I'm sorry. Well, anyway, you got to save up for that $1,500 of insurance once a year, right? And if you can't save up for the hooch, then you better make a deal with your insurance company or your insurance person and do it monthly. Pay that monthly, okay? Which, by the way, they're going to charge you for that privilege of paying monthly. It's going to cost you more. But if you can't handle saving up $1,500, then you put that into monthly. Now, the good news is, when you buy a home with a home mortgage, we already talked about that. We did a 15-year mortgage, 30-year mortgage. They will take your insurance and your taxes and wrap it right up into that monthly payment. Because the mortgage company will take that $1,500 of house insurance, divide it by 12, and take that out of your check every month. Or take that, add that, into the house payment. That's called an escrow account. And the escrow account holds that insurance and the taxes, because then the taxes have to be paid once a year. And then your lender will pay your taxes for you and pay your insurance for you. So that's what happens when you have a home mortgage. We don't have a home mortgage anymore, so we have to pay our tax bill once a year and our insurance once a year. Okay? Well, anyway. On a car, shifting gears a little bit, I don't know of any policy, now I'm sure you can get it, it's just going to cost you right through the nose, for replacement cost coverage. Oh, there is something that you can do. There is something. I learned this from a student, by the way. You can get, it's called gap insurance for your car. Gap insurance. In essence, it's replacement cost coverage for your car. Here's how it works. Okay, normally, if you don't buy this gap insurance, guess what? You don't have it. So you buy a new car, $25,000 car, and you're driving this thing home, and a cement truck, brakes fail, plow right into you. Hopefully you're okay, all the airbags went off and everything else, and so you're okay, pretty shaken up. But your car was totaled. I mean, this cement truck hit, you were over in the driver's side door and you had your seatbelt on and everything else, and driver's side or the passenger side doors where the cement truck hit you, totaled your brand new car. Okay. I said the car cost $25,000. All right. This guy that hit you, he had good insurance, okay? His insurance company, is his insurance company going to write you a check for $25,000, Matthew?
Yeah.
No! Because your car is not worth $25,000. Now wait a minute, you see. I just paid $25,000. I bought the car today. I'm driving home. The cement truck, bam! I mean, I'm lucky to be alive, and you're only going to pay me $22,000? And the other insurance company's going to say, because that's all the car was worth. It was a used car. Used, yeah, 1 day, 10 miles. Sorry, that's what all the, hey, you look it up. Go look it up, Kelly Blue Book. Used car. Go look it up. It's not worth $25,000. It's worth $22,000. The insurance company will pay you $22,000. That would be very frustrating, wouldn't it? That happens every day in the United States of America. And we got hacked off people that don't understand about insurance. Now, our wonderful president, Obama, he was all mad one time. He explained this during his first campaign. He was in college, and he actually got into an accident that was his fault. And he explained that he had state minimum coverage. That's liability coverage only. Doesn't cover the automobile, all right? And he was all mad at the insurance company because the insurance company didn't pay. It was his fault. The insurance company didn't pay to have his car fixed. I just wanted to ask you. Now you did say you passed the bar exam. You did go to law school here. Like, this is after he went to law school. He didn't understand the difference between liability coverage and full coverage on a car. Anyway, that's all I'll say. Well, anyway, there's a huge difference between full coverage on a vehicle and just liability coverage on a vehicle. Now, when you're poor as dirt and your car is old, I hope you don't have full coverage of your car. In other words, if you end up having an accident that's your fault, and all you have is liability coverage, the insurance company's not going to pay to fix your car. I said it was your fault. All you have is state minimum coverage or liability coverage, and the insurance company's not going to pay to have your car fixed. Liability coverage simply means if you cause damage to somebody else, now your insurance will pay to have their car fixed and will pay to have their medical bills covered, will pay for their pain and suffering and so forth, up to the limits of your policy, okay? That's liability coverage. Now, which is more expensive, liability coverage or full coverage? Which is more expensive on a car? Austin.
You in here.
Let's go to Laura.
Full coverage is more expensive than liability.
Full coverage is more expensive. Thank you, Laura. And if you have an old car, it's not worth it. It's not worth it. Now you're taking a chance. You're taking a chance. One of the widows that we were helping out with their finances, she had liability coverage only. She backed into somebody. Okay? She backed into somebody. It was her fault. She wasn't paying attention. Okay? She just tried to back like this, looking out of her. You know how we old people back. Look in your rearview mirror and back like that and hope you don't hit anybody. I've backed into people before. But anyway, she didn't turn around and look. Well, she really crunched this other guy's vehicle. Now, she had liability coverage. So did her insurance pay to have this other guy's vehicle fixed, Scott? Scott Day's absent? No.
He's here.
Oh, go. Scott, where are you? All right, go for it. What do you think? Yeah. Yes, it did. That is, her insurance paid to have the other guy's vehicle fixed. Did the insurance pay to have her own car fixed? Nawara?
No.
No, it did not. She did $1,500 worth of damage to her own car and had to pay for that. Okay? $1,500 worth of damage. So, she only had liability coverage only. Liability means it pays for anything that you do wrong. It'll pay to fix somebody else's car, any injuries they may have had, and so forth. So that's the liability. Now, back to deductible just a little bit. What is more expensive, do you think? Now, I'm a high deductible kind of guy. All right. I believe in high deductible. What do you think is more expensive insurance? High deductibles or low deductibles? I've got a good friend, Bruce. He lives out in Amarillo, Texas. He moved to be by his grandkids. He's a believer in very low deductibles. I mean, he would get a $0 deductible if he could. Insurance companies almost always won't offer a $0 deductible. They'll offer maybe a $100 deductible. So on his cars, he has like a $100 deductible. My car and my wife's car, $2,500 deductible. Now, everything else, let's say, is equal. Whose insurance is more expensive, Kelsey?
His.
His. And it's way more expensive. Now, here's the good news and the bad news. Just a couple of years ago, we loaned my wife's car to our wonderful son-in-law. He's a really great guy. In fact, in some cultures, the father chooses who marries his daughter, and so I tell Chad that I would choose you to marry my daughter. He's a really neat guy. So, and we loaned him a car to drive from Alva to Hartner, Kansas. For those of you up there in Alva, you know exactly where I'm talking about. So 3 o'clock in the afternoon, a deer out of nowhere, boom, runs right into the side of my wife's car, does $6,000 worth of damage to my wife's car. $6,000 worth of damage to my wife's car. Now, I had $2,500 deductible. Now, you may want to write these numbers down, okay? You may want to write these numbers down. See, we got to change this a little bit. So you got to erase this part up in here, and now it's $6,000 worth of damage. Okay, $6,000 worth of damage. Now I'm going to ask you a trick question. When I had Robert's Body Shop right here in Enid, Oklahoma, fix my wife's car, I had to write a check for how much, Melanie?
$3,500.
$3,500. You get 2 points for your good participation. How much did I have to write the check to Robert's Body Shop here in Enid, Oklahoma? Gannon.
$6,000.
$6,000. You get 2 points for your good participation. Well, let's go to Tiffany and Ponca.
2,500.
2,500. Here's a trick question. On a Monday morning at 8 o'clock, trick questions should not be allowed. See, this is what I had to write my check for. That's me. Okay? I had to write the check for the deductible. Not nice to ask the trick question, was it? I had to write a check for $2,500.
Wouldn't you technically have to write the check for the $6,000 because the insurance pays you?
Actually, that was a really good question, and the answer is I had to write the check for $2,500. The insurance company wrote the check directly to Robert's Body Shop, and so I didn't have to write a check. I just had to write the check for $2,500. Okay? Now, I'm not saying that it's going to happen that way every single time. Okay? Not necessarily. But so it was a really nasty question, wasn't it? But I had to write a check for $2,500, and then I just handed them the check from Farmers Insurance. Okay? That's who has our insurance. Now, the insurance company paid how much, TJ?
Insurance company pays the rest.
Yeah, the rest, which is how much?
6,000 minus 2,500.
Good, 6,000 minus 2,500. We'll wait.
3,500.
3,500, very good. So, this is what the insurance paid. The insurance paid the $3,500. Now, my friend Bruce in Amarillo, he had a deer. And when he had a deer, and let's, for the sake of argument, let's say it was $6,000. I can't remember, it probably wasn't 6,000 exactly, but let's just say it was 6,000. He has a $100 deductible on his policy. How much did his insurance company pay, Cannon? How much?
$100.
$9,000. Well, let's look at the math here. Okay, this is my friend Bruce now. He had $6,000 worth of damage. Okay. He has $100 deductible. Okay. And the question is, how much is the insurance company going to pay? Go for it, Cannon.
Say they're gonna pay. Yes. 5,000.
5,000, how much?
900.
900. 5,900, very good. That's how much the insurance is going to, his insurance is going to pay. Now, some of you are right away thinking, boy, Bruce is way smarter than you, Dr. G, because when he hit a deer, he only had to pay $100 out of pocket. Okay, guess how many deer that I've had to pay for in the last 40, I was trying to remember how many years driving I've done, let's see, oh my goodness, almost 50 years of driving. I'm as old as dirt. All right, guess how many deer that I've had to pay for, either my wife, family, or something. In the last 50 years, how many deer? Take a guess, Stetson.
2.
2 is a good guess. It was my son-in-law that hit the deer going up to partner, and then my son was driving his Ford Festiva down a gravel road in the country, and a deer was running along, and instead of slowing down, he figured, that deer's going to jump out of the way. Well, the deer didn't jump out of the way, and he kicked out his headlight. It wasn't very expensive, but anyway, it did a little bit of damage. Those are the only 2 in like 50 years, right? Now, every year I can save, I've run the numbers on this more than once. I save $200 a year per vehicle by having this unbelievably high deductible. Now, in most times in my life, including now, we have 3 vehicles. I can save $600 a year on my car insurance. Now, if you take 600 times 50, just for round numbers, that's a lot of money. I used to be good at math. Anybody know what that is? 600 times 50,
$30,000.
$30,000. I think I'm ahead, right? I think I'm ahead money-wise by paying that $2,500 out of my pocket. So I wrote
You're
the
only
check.
ahead if you don't have to pay
I'm sorry,
for
go ahead.
You're only ahead if you don't have very many accidents. Now, if you're going to get into accidents all the time, then it'd be more...
Exactly. So, who drives slower at night? Bruce or I? Who drives slower at night, Stetson?
You.
I do! I drive slower at night. Now you understand why the insurance premium is lower as well. Because when Bruce is driving, when I'm riding with Bruce, I mean, it's like he's going deer hunting. He gets in his car and he goes, yeah! Kind of like when I'm driving a school car. I mean, if I'm coming back from Alva late at night, I'm not driving 50 miles an hour in that school car. It's being recorded. I can get in trouble, right? But I'm driving the speed limit plus maybe 4, all right? So it's being recorded. I can get in trouble. But in other words, I don't care if I hit a deer with the school car. I'll just hang on and boom, got one. You know, Bruce, that's the way he drives. I don't know how many deer he's hit, but you see now the break-even point, I bet you Bruce hasn't hit $60,000 worth of deer. Or, I mean, $30,000 worth of deer. I'm just guessing. Just a guess, right? I bet you he hasn't hit $30,000 worth of deer. And you ought to see the way he drives. I mean, he goes deer hunting in his car. So, I'm a believer in high deductibles. Now, I got about 30 seconds left, so I better hurry. I have this high deductible on my house as well. So when the wind comes and blows my fence down, I have to pay $2,500. Bruce only has to pay $100. But guess who goes out once a year and checks his fence post and puts in a new fence post if the fence is a little wobbly? Guess who does that once a year, Tiffany? You think Bruce does, or you think I do? Yeah, I do. 'Cause I don't want to pay that $2,500. Bruce, he doesn't care. The wind comes and blows his fence down, it's $100. Now do you see why the high deductible is cheaper too? I'm going to have way less likelihood to turn in a claim, aren't I? You guys did a fantastic job today. I appreciate it. Good job.